And we are looking at one of the best matchups you'll see probably all year. This is going to be a great way to finish off what has been a very exciting day of surfing. Joel Parkinson out there in the red, John Florence will be in the blue, and one of the most exciting rookies in the new class, Jack Freestone, he's going to be out there in the white. John Florence looking supercharged, ready for a big year, and here he is now. One of those trademark John hacks to get started. Again, out onto the open face. Definitely looking fit coming into this first event. Fit and focused.
And yeah, it's so cool because John already, rightly so, owns that label as the best surfer in the world, but it's not official. So I think it's cool that he wants to make it official. He wants to win that title, and he is gunning for it.
Well, it's the only thing that he's really got to cross off the list, because last year he put out an award-winning film. View from a Blue Moon was one of the best surf movies I've ever seen. Obviously this year he's already collected one of the biggest accolades you can get in surfing, taking out the Eddie. But he's got a tough heat here. Joel Parkinson, a local boy who looks reinvigorated after his worst finish on the championship tour. And his first wave is looking like a keeper. Bringing this one through to that little inside section, kicks the tail. And Joel, he just looked to have fallen off the pace a little bit at the end of last year. He looked a little complacent, looked like he was just going through event by event, kind of just turning up, but not really turning up to win.
So easy to do when you've been on tour for as long as someone like Parko. You just kind of forget what's going on. You lose that motivation, but if that first wave was any indication, he looked super energized. You know, that wave was mediocre. You know, just a decent wave, but he put so much effort into each and every little snap. There's the swoop that we all love from Parko. And again, this wave was pretty small, but he had just put so much energy into those hacks. So I love the fact that, you know, we're seeing, as you mentioned, a reinvigorated Parko.
I think at times last year, Joel's surfing got a little flat. And what I mean by that is there seemed to be less rail in the water, especially when you were comparing it to his world title year. Already on that first ride, you can see that he's digging that rail in a little bit deeper again, as is John Florence.
Yeah, John, a couple of swoops here. Very similar wave to Parko's. Just a warm-up, and I think these guys all are aware that the wide peak further down from where they started is kind of where the best waves are. So those waves are more or less just to kind of get down the point, get to where those keepers are.
Well, John Florence, this is his 6th year on the championship tour. And hard to believe he's only had 2 CT victories. Here goes Jack Freestone. Used priority for this wave. Has surfed this point more than just about anyone in the event in the lead up to this contest. And well, from that last turn, you can see he's very comfortable out here.
That was probably the best air we saw today. Felipe had a really nice reverse, but it was out into the flats. That was clean right there. Really nice ramp. Got a ton of pop.
And here goes John Florence now. Well, let's see if he finds an air section on the end of this ride. He throws his board into that reverse. So casual when he's riding backwards like that, and he spins it around with ease.
We saw him in the locker room before this heat waxing his nose, and that's the reason why he does that maneuver right there. He does it more than anyone. He picks that nose. And what I mean by picking a nose is when he goes into that reverse, his foot is all the way at the tip of his board. And he actually uses that nose rocker to kind of pick the tail around, and it smooths the maneuver out.
That didn't sound that nice for a moment there, waxing his nose and then picking it. But John, we're talking about right just the technical aspect of his aerial surfing.
You see him shuffling that front foot back. So again, it gives him such a high strike rate to land those reverses. Julian does it a lot, but John owns it. Watch this ramp right here. Bing. That was so clean. I love how he projected out towards the beach, tail high, really nice air.
How's the distance he covered? He kind of reminds me of Julian in a lot of ways. Jack Freestone. It's just a bigger version. Bigger, lankier version, but he just plants that thing right on the sweet spot.
He held on to his rail too. Nice grab there for a long, long time in the air. Pretty technical. So judges already threw, wow, 8.6 for that little wave from Joel.
Yeah, I spent like a lot of time in Hawaii, and this year is the first time in 10 years or 12 years I went home for like 15 days, train and surf like small waves before I get here. So when I get here, it's small but like rippable, so it's pretty fun. And it's really hard when you surf like big waves and you come here, like you have to like figure out like small boards and stuff. But I mean, like just surf a lot and just like have my time just happy and surf and have fun.
Well, Wiggly, it's so awesome to see you as such a well-rounded surfer on tour. Back up to you, Ronnie.
Cheers, Rosie. We are seeing a number of waves being ridden in this heat, and already it feels like it's going to live up to expectations. A great heat on paper, and already some excellent scores dropped. An 8.6 from Joel Parkinson early on, and here's Joel on his second ride now. Finds some clean face, really stylish first turn. Throws his board vertical and drifts those fins. This is some of the fire that was missing from Joel's performances last year. He's trying to make a link through to the inside, and unfortunately for Joel there, that wave just split in half and reeled off on a completely different section of the sandbar.
I don't know if it's just a mental thing where he is super excited and energized, or if it's an equipment change, but Joel looks really sharp out there.
Well, here goes John now, already holding on to the lead, looking to get rid of a 3.83. This wave's starting to flatten out. John kicks out. That's going to happen out here at the moment with the tide filling in, Ross. Some of these waves are going to fade away into the channel.
Yeah, it's definitely changing right before our eyes.
Here goes John Florence. A nice wall stretching out in front. Floating re-entry to get started. Climbs into the lip. Critical manoeuvre, but just thrown off balance as he came down. And behind him now, Jack Freestone having a look at this one. He wants out. And Joel Parkinson is up as well. So solid three-wave set. Each of our riders taking a wave. Let's see if Joel can convert this into a score. Goes a straight air, didn't get a lot of height. His board got a little stuck in the lip, and as a result, he wasn't able to stick that thing. This heat, because every set has had 3 or more waves in it, and all of our competitors are counting on a couple of scores now, but Jack Freestone is the surfer, still hanging on to the lead at this point in time, but it's a pretty narrow margin, and one that he wouldn't be comfortable with the likes of Joel Parkinson and John Florence in the water.
Not at all. He knows, but it's good. You know, you can see he is really peppered up right now. He's got that extra zip in his surfing. We know how silky smooth Joel is, but he looks pretty sassy.
Well, Jack Freestone, he will be a guest on Dawn Patrol tomorrow morning. Looking forward to having a chat to him. It will obviously serve him well. If he can get the victory here, it'll be a little less pressure turning up to do Dawn Patrol if he's got to surf a heat in the second round. But have a look at this, just tearing this wave apart. And Ross, you've seen something in Jack's performance that was missing last year.
I think he's added some muscle. You know, he's always had that really exciting pop. He's always been good in the air. But I like what I'm seeing on the rail from Jack. He looks smoother. Not as many kinks in his surfing. That tail blow right there from Joel was so nice. So again, we're used to seeing the buttery, smooth carves from Joel, but he looks, you know, downright angry out there. He definitely has it back.
I was here in 2002, that first year that Joel won the contest, and the local crowd went mad for it. It was crazy. The car park down here at Snapper Rocks, it just turned into a festival in the afternoon. The whole place just lit up. Joel's gone on to win this event a couple of times. He's had a number of finals finishes. But now we're watching John, and he just sets that rail line, holds onto it, which is one of the rare things to see on tour these days, someone holding that rail for that extended period of time. Throws in a major maneuver where he kicks the tail free, so just pushes his board to the point of release, and he always does it with style. But I'm loving the energy even in his return to the takeoff zone.
Well, this is interesting because, you know, it's been talked about a bit. His new game plan this year is just to tone it back 10, maybe 15%. Don't go for the biggest move on every wave. But just like Felipe, that's how he surfs. So it's going to take you know, awareness for him to scale it back. It's not his natural way to surf, but you can see it already. Just in his heat alone, he is scaling it back a little bit. But the good news for John, look at this. This is 20% scaled back, and he's still surfing at such a high level. This is the nicest snap right here where he releases the fins. I think that's his comfort zone, Ronnie, right there, when he gets to be creative and really let it rip.
Definitely. There's so many surfers on tour that just have to surf better because they're already good competitors. John doesn't have to surf any better than he already surfs.
Which could be a problem out here in these tight spaces.
Great point. There is John's past results here, and no disrespect to any of his rivals. They're some of the toughest competitors, especially Travis Logie and Adrian Buchan, but on paper, you do not give the nod to any of those competitors over John Florence on a right-hand point break.
Which is great for those whippy carves he does, but in the dead spots, I think that extra foam is really going to help him, you know, do a different types of moves.
Well, here he goes now. Big projection float, speed float to get down the line. Bit of foam on the face of this one, but John is just building speed for the big finish. Throws his board into an air reverse, rides out clean. Was chasing a 6.78 to get into the lead. Complete change up in the situation in the last 5 minutes. Joel Parkinson took the lead. John Florence after a 6.78 to jump from second to first. Jack Freestone, he's back in third, looking for a 6.94 to get back into the lead, but each one of these competitors has held the lead at different stages throughout this heat. Joel Parkinson's had the lead for 61% of the time. John Florence, he's had it for 12%, and Jack Freestone 26%. So just on 9.5 minutes to go, and Joel, he puts his foot to the floor and throws his board into a spin. Doesn't go the full 360 though. He opts out and kicks out of that wave.
He's hounding the lineup. Jack Freestone has priority. You can see Jack's he knows what wave he wants. He's been hanging a little wider.
The run around is a walk in the park. You know, and in a heat, if you ride a couple of long waves, you're kind of gassed. It's hard to get back out there. Here goes John. This wave just slowing down. John remaining positive though. Sometimes in the past, I think his body language has suggested when he's frustrated, but he looks really focused at the moment. But Freestone, he can turn an insider into a healthy number, don't worry about that. And he's picked one off here, but I don't know if I see an oncoming section that's going to provide a steep enough wall for Jack to let go of another big air. He's kicking out, just under 5 minutes to go. It's funny heat though. Joel Parkinson with priority. He's sitting at the top of the point because he's not just worried about Jack on the inside, he's worried about John. John snuck away and got himself into this ride. And this thing's standing up okay for the moment. John drives up into the lip, drifts his board into a clean, smooth reverse. Running out of wall to work with here though. Has to keep busy. Couple of solid turns, chasing a 6.78.
Wow.
You can see the change physically. Looking really broad in the shoulders. Super trimmed and toned and ready to chase down a world title potentially in 2016.
Well, he just gave a lot for the judges to digest there. That's not a big score, 6.78. You talk about commitment. That was big commitment with that air reverse. I know he makes those look easy, but they are not easy at all. Really torques his body to twist those things around. Good flow in that first snap there. A lot of variety in this wave. So there's that, very committed right there. Creative, mix it up. But as you said, Ronnie, that wave just petered out there. Didn't have a lot of energy to finish it off. Kind of a sleepy finish. So if he doesn't get it, you know, that wave just didn't have enough to offer there.
You've got to make some comparisons to what we saw earlier from Jack Freestone, 7.17. John's chasing a 6.94. Jack Freestone with one of the turns of the contest on that 7.17. And the judges make those comparisons. We're waiting for the number to drop. Just on 15 seconds to go. And John logs a 5.6. But he's going to get another opportunity on the inside here. Under priority. He swings and he gets a bit of wall to work with. And he throws everything at it, but doesn't ride out of that last turn. His back foot just missed the tail pad. And he goes down, but fought until the final second, never gave up. And that attitude is to be commended, and it's exciting to see.
If I'm in John's corner, I'm going to do nothing but slap him on the back. I don't see any big mistakes. He surfed his brains out in that heat. Just that was a big score for Joel. That 8.6, that made the difference for him. And, you know, we spotted it. We love what we're seeing from him. So, you know, he's going to be stoked moving forward. He'll skip that round too.